Hey guys, okay, so I posted something on X/Twitter this morning and it resonated with a bunch of people. I'm getting like messages about it and stuff, so I wanted to share it here on YouTube. I tweeted, or I guess posted, beneath chronic symptoms is repressed emotion like rage. Beneath rage is fear. Beneath fear is grief. Beneath grief is unexpressed love. And then I ended it with a quote by Jamie Anderson, grief is just love with no place to go. And you've probably heard that quote before because it's so true. I wanted to like dissect this and I wanted to tie it into the fact that this is why allowing everything works. And it saves you tension, stress, overthinking, and the habitual reasoning that your mind is used to. So let's break this down because it's kind of a lot, right? So beneath chronic symptoms, these visceral, awful, so unpredictable, scary, terrorizing, what other adjectives can I describe? You guys throw it in, right? Just vile. These symptoms, these sensations that you've been feeling, and if you know this is mind body because you've gone through the whole gambit of getting checked out and the doctors can't find any definitively wrong thing with you, nothing structural, right? Maybe a little bit of imbalance, like hormones, chemicals, all that stuff, but still they're like these little normal abnormalities, as Dr. Sarno would call it. There's no way that it could be causing this plethora of intense sensations, debilitating enough that it's completely derailing your life. There's no way these things can be causing what you're experiencing, right? So that's how we know, ding, 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 this is a mind-body issue. This is repressed emotion. This is a super full allostatic bucket load of stress bucket load thing that wants to empty, that wants to be expressed, that wants to release, that needs to be witnessed and felt in the body so that it can move out. We're just talking about pure emotional, energetic charge. I mean, that's kind of redundant, right? Because emotion is energy in motion, but we've kept it stuck. We've repressed it. We've suppressed it. And that's why we're in this place, right? So beneath chronic symptoms is repressed emotion like rage. Dr. Sarno, he nailed it right on the head back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, right? 90s even, when he was still seeing clients and patients. All of this is repressed rage. All the things that you, as a child, you learned you couldn't feel. It wasn't safe to feel. Be quiet, shut up. Your feelings don't matter. Why are you crying? Why are you angry? That's bad. Blah, 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 blah. All those voices that we've learned, right? So beneath these sensations, that's what it is. It's repressed emotion, most likely rage. But what's under the rage? Under the rage is fear, right? Because that's why you get so mad. Like when your boundaries are crossed, then yeah, there's the anger, but really what's under that? There's a fear there. And it could be, in my case, I've discovered that it's fear of abandonment. That was huge because I was like, I don't need anybody, you know, I've always been like super independent, could figure out stuff on my own. But it turns out that was a cope because I have this like deep, deep, deep fear of abandonment that I still honestly, cognitively, it doesn't register, you know? It doesn't register that I'm scared of people leaving me. But see, that's the thing, our conscious minds think that way, but we're dealing with the subconscious. Under the subconscious, there is clearly a fear of abandonment. I'm speaking for myself. There's clearly a fear of abandonment because then why the heck would I be super independent, you know, as a cope? Hopefully that makes sense. Beneath that is fear. That's why we get so mad because we don't want to feel the fear because fear is scary. And then beneath that fear is grief. You can't have love without grief. As the quote says, grief is just love with no place to go. So if you can resonate with me, I had an absentee drug addict meth head dad who I did not have a relationship with. I don't know. I don't have a reference point for what it's like to be in a relationship with a father figure. And this has permeated through my marriage. My husband, poor guy, bless his soul, bless his little heart. He's had to, you know, obviously a lot of conflict comes up while you're on this journey, let's be honest. But we had a lot of conflict leading up to this journey. It all contributed, and it turns out it's because I was trying to heal this attachment wound that I had with my dad through my husband. All of this is how marriage and parenting brings out all these attachment wounds you had no idea was in there, and then you keep running into these patterns, these dysfunctional patterns that cause so much pain and hurt, and you're like, why do we keep running into this? What is this? It turns out it's attachment wounds coming up because they want to be healed. And it just takes a lot of unlearning and a lot of going around that upward spiral, layer by layer by layer, and tackling these wounds little by little by little at a time, because it's so much, you know? So where did I leave? Beneath fear is grief. Beneath grief is unexpressed love. So let's take the example with me. If I had so much love when I was born, right, which I think is true. I think all children, they're born good, innocent, full of love, and they're a blank slate. I mean, caveat, there is epigenetics where it's like, you know, dysfunctional patterns can pass through the cells into the mother's womb. I do believe in that. Environmental, like, if you don't know anything about epigenetics, you can start to look that up if that's an interest of you or interesting for you. But let's just say, generally speaking, I think kids are born blank slate, full of love. They're looking for love. They have love to give. They're so innocent. They're so pure. And then the moment they come out, they are picking up energies from mom, dad, the world, society. They're learning like that, right? Like their brains are learning. And so if you have an absentee father or mother or caretaker, what have you, then where's that love gonna go? The child is not gonna direct that love to itself. It doesn't know that yet, right? Like, the child has no concept of self-love. We learn that as adults when our prefrontal cortex are fully formed. But if we have, like, our caretakers are just, for whatever reasons, they're not there, where's this love gonna go, right? It's gonna turn into self-deprecation. So if we don't have caretakers that can co-regulate our emotions, right? If we don't have just that kind of like mouthpiece to, hey, you love me, I learn, oh, love is a thing, I give it back to you. Like, we don't have this mirror with our caretakers for whatever reasons, right? Because we do live in, if you're a Christian, right? I think this is the epitome of what fallen worlds stands for. It's not so much like, oh, bad person, bad thing, sinful person, sinful thing. I'm looking at patterns. And so I think this is the problem that permeates us in a fallen world. We're just all looping on dysfunctional patterns, and the call is to change these patterns, to move them, to heal, to revise them. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the child thing, if we're children, we don't have caretakers that can really be there for us, that can co-regulate with us, then where's that love gonna go? There's nowhere for it to go. So then it turns into grief. And then as we go through life, we develop these coping mechanisms because we don't know how to process grief or feel it or communicate it. And our caretakers don't know how to receive it, to co-regulate. You know, therein lies the fundamental issue that I think plagues humanity. It's just the relearning and regurgitating of dysfunctional patterns, but really it's just all this unexpressed love with nowhere to go. So then it transmutes to grief, which then transmutes to fear, which then transmutes to repressed rage, and all of that gets stuck in our cells. And then we get to a point where it wants out. It needs out. You know? I hope that makes sense. So this is why I think the allowing method is the golden standard for recovering from this. Because we can feel our sensations and our symptoms, and we can be like, oh my God, this is rage. Oh no, this is fear. Oh no, this is sadness. Oh, this is grief. Right? I was falling into that trap where my brain was like, oh, it's this emotion. It's this. Oh, it's because you're feeling this fear because like your childhood was so scary and your dad did this and your mom did this. So of course it's fear. Like my brain was still rationalizing, what is this emotion? Why do I have this emotion? And it kept regurgitating that story. But if we understand what Sam and Helmut teach in the Mindful Gardener, the allowing method, where it's just whatever is coming up, it could be a plethora of these things. It could be rage, it could be fear, it could be grief, it could be unexpressed love, it could be all of that. It doesn't matter. This is the beauty of the allowing method. We don't have to figure it out. It might be helpful for you in the beginning, right? To be like, oh, this is rage. Yes, of course there would be rage because I went through this. You know, it might be helpful to kind of validate your childhood experiences and your childhood wounds. Sorry, that's my daughter. That could be helpful. But then you kind of reach a point where you're like, I don't need to figure this out anymore. It's just energy that's been stuck, emotional energy that's been stuck. So so we're just gonna allow it all. We're gonna allow it to move. And you'll find that sometimes when you allow a sensation, it'll morph into that emotion. It'll morph into grief. It'll morph into rage. It all doesn't matter. That's why the allowing method works. It kind of shuts off that reasoning part of your brain. The part of your brain that's been trying so hard to protect you. That's why it creates these justifications and these reasons for why you feel the way that you feel. But really what's happening is it's kind of just covering the pure emotion that just wants to move through you and move through your body, that's been told, nope, 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 nope. You stay down here. You're not coming up. No. Right? So that's all. I just wanted to speak to the fact that it is all these emotions that we've been taught to be ashamed of. And even with shame just covers one of these emotions, one of these big potent emotions. Like that's it. So we can even welcome the shame because it's not even real. Shame was like a protective mechanism that you've learned, to cover whatever emotion you're scared to feel. And it's one of these big ones here that I list on this post. So that's it. So allow it all, you guys. Allow it all. If you suspect that this is fear, just go right into the fear and feel it. If you suspect that this is rage, if you suspect that this is grief, go right into it and feel it. Teach your brain that it's now safe to feel these things, that it doesn't need to stuff it down. And does it suck? Yeah, it's really uncomfortable because it's new. It's not something that we're used to. We're habitually used to repressing. So this is a huge change. This is a big pattern shift in actually feeling all these emotions that have been wanting to move for a very, very long time. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go. Have a great day, and we will talk soon.